Okay, here we are on page 2. We're still simplifying algebraic expressions. These are tricky for kids most of the time, so let's take it very carefully here. What you need to do is you need to take through the -2, the entire -2 here. That's what's going to distribute on the inside first. So when we bring that through, we will lose those parentheses, but still have brackets. So we'll have 2 plus 4, and then the brackets on the inside will be -2x, and then make sure we put -2 as we distribute the negative. Now we can't go any further on the inside there, so what we're going to do is distribute the 4. So now we have 2 plus -8x, and then the 4 comes through here and you get a -8. So at this time we got to put like terms together. We got the 2 and the -8, the constants there, so we can make those -6, and then plus a -8x, or just -8x. Another acceptable answer would be -8x minus 6. And then going here, what we want to do is we want to look for any like terms and then combine them. So looking through, no parentheses or anything. So are there any other x squareds? Yep, I got some here. So +20 and -10 make a +10, and the variables stay the same when you combine like terms. And then we have xy terms right next to each other. So we have a +50 and a -22. So that's going to combine together, not adding 22 to each of these. What we're going to do is just combine them, and we're going to have a +28xy. And then this guy's all by himself over here, so he's just going to be +60y squared. Final answer. All right, very important next two questions on this learning target. When solving an equation and the variables cancel, leaving a false statement. That means if you have something like x plus 2 equals x plus 4. When you subtract x from both sides here, you will have 2 equals 4. False statement. The answer is no real solution. When solving an equation and they cancel out and you get a true statement, then the answer is the word identity. Okay, so really study that up. Get the difference between those two, because that could happen at any point on this page, and it will happen. So when I'm solving each of the following, I'm gonna distribute. There's gonna be the different skills we've learned. So this is gonna be -5x minus 10, and on the right side, distributing the 3 only to the first two parts, not to the back end, is gonna give you 3x plus 30 minus 4. And now I'm going to combine like terms. I always like to combine like terms first before I do things to both sides. So the 3x is going to be all that's on the right, but we're going to have plus 26. And now I personally am going to add the 5x to both sides. So I like to keep the x values positive. And actually in the exact same step, I'm going to subtract the 26 from both sides. To save some room here, as you can see, it's hard for me to write this on here. So that's going to be a -36 is equal to 8x. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 8. I'm running out of room here, but x is going to be equal to -36 over 8. We want to simplify this. We definitely know a 2 goes in and actually a 4 goes in. So we're going to reduce that. That's all we're doing is reducing. Divide both top and bottom by 4, and we get -9/2. Good idea to plug it back in and check your work. The calculator can be great for that. Over here, I don't like fractions, hate them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply all parts, and this is going to get a little tricky here, but all 3 parts I'm going to multiply by the common denominator of 10. So this is going to get crazy. You got to really watch your work here, and I can't rewrite it all because I don't have enough space. But watch what happens here in blue. So the 10 over 2, the 2 becomes a 1, the 10 becomes a 5. Now I'm going to distribute the 5 to what's left there, and that whole mess just becomes 5x plus 5. And in here I do have a minus sign, but the 10's cancel in this case, leaving just the 3. And then on the right side, this is really 5 over 1, nothing cancels, we get the number 50. And now we've turned this frown upside down and we're a little bit happier. So now we have 5x plus 2 equals 50. And now I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So 5x equals 48. divide both sides by 5, and we're going to get 48 over 5, which we would want to simplify, but we cannot simplify in this case. All right, looking at the next one here, I'm going to distribute the 8x, and I'm going to get 8x plus 16. And on the right side, I'm going to get 10 plus 8x. I've combined like terms on both sides, so now I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides. Whoops, sorry. So I'm going to have 16 equals 10. And what we just learned up ahead, or back up here, is that if they cancel out and you get a false statement, which is what is happening right now, then the answer to that problem would be no solution. All right, this next one is definitely a little tricky, and there's a few ways you can do it. I'm going to describe to you how to do this problem the comfortable way of getting rid of the fractions after we distribute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the 2 through. So we're going to have 2x minus 8, and then we're going to bring the 1/3 through to both parts. So that's going to give you 1/3 x, and then it's going to give you minus 2/3, because the 2 is on the top. That's really 2 over 1 when you distribute. And on the right side, we still have 7. So I haven't done anything but distribute so far. But now I'm going to treat it just like the last problem, I'm sorry, 2 problems ago where we had fractions. And I'm going to look here, and I'm going to multiply every single part by the common denominator. So the common denominator is 3. So multiply that by 3 over 1, and you're going to get 6x. Multiply that 8 by 3. You're going to get minus 24. Multiply this 1/3, this is where it's going to get tricky, by 6 over 1. The 6 over 1 reduces to 2 over 1, and you're going to have a positive 2x. Then we still have a minus sign, but when we take 2/3 times 3 over 1, the 3's cancel, so you'll just have a 2. And you can't forget you got to multiply the right side by that common denominator as well. Again, it's definitely tricky to get to here. You had to distribute and then multiply everything by the common denominator. But once you're here, we can fly. 6x and 2x combine together to give me 8x's. Negative 24 and negative 2 gives me negative 26. And now I'm comfy. Once we take and add 26 to both sides, we're going to have 47. Divide both sides by 8. We're going to get a final answer of this problem to 47 over 8. We're getting some ugly answers, which is totally fine. That can happen. All right, finishing off page 2 of this worksheet. You can do this many different ways. The solutions online or solutions we've done in the class show you that you can multiply by 20 to everything, because that's the common denominator. I'm going to show you a different way of cross multiplying here, which is fine. If you take the 4 and multiply by the 4x plus 1 and set it equal to 5 times 3, which is 15, we have now turned this into an equation that is way simpler. So I'm going to bring through the 4, and I have 16x plus 4, and that's equal to 15. Not worried about you guys freaking out on this one. 16x equals 11. Divide both sides by 16, and you're going to get 11/16. Again, another ugly fractional answer, but that's all right. Okay, so if you learn anything there, you should look here and realize, hey, maybe I could cross multiply. And you absolutely can. For the sake of practice, I'm going to show you the other way, just so you know. We could still take and multiply by the common denominator to both sides, which is great, because if I multiply the left by 4 over 1 and the right by 4 over 1, I'm going to see that the 4's actually cancel and leave just x plus 1 on the left. 4's cancel over here, leaving 2x plus 2 on the right. And now I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I have 1 equals x plus 2. And then when I subtract 2 to both sides, I'm going to get 1 minus 2, negative 1 equal to x. And you can definitely, if you don't believe me, cross multiply this problem, work through it, and then you can see that you're still going to get to an answer of x equals negative 1.